Avatar is about a human who becomes part of a native tribe on an alien planet, despite there being tensions between the native people and humans who are trying to destroy their planet. Then they get upset when it blows up in their faces. I would say I feel bad for them, but their decisions are so dumb that I just really don't. At the Navi's tree fort, Drake has a ceremony thing, so he's officially one of them now, because there's no way that's gonna go wrong. Then Jake and Neytiri go on their own adventure to the Tree of Voices, where I guess Navi go to pray with their ponytail things.
You may choose a woman.
Wait, what the f***? He's an alien in a remote-controlled synthetic body. If they want to teach him their ways and make him one of them, that's one thing, but why the hell would they give him a wife, especially when they know that he's not really a Navi? What the hell is going on with this movie? Also, how would that work with his synthetic body? Anyway, Jake chooses Neytiri even though she's already arranged to be married to Sute, and they, well, you know, because that's gonna go over well. How does that work with Jake's synthetic body? Then the next day, Neytiri gets woken up by this giant bulldozer from earlier plowing through the Trees of Voices, but synthetic Jake doesn't wake up because real Jake isn't in his remote control pod yet. So Neytiri has to drag his lifeless body around while Drake hurries to get ready. So he finally remotes in, realizes what's happening, and tries to stop them. But they just keep going, because I guess Parker doesn't recognize the thing that he spent $1 billion on. So Jake smashes out the cameras, and now they realize it was Jake. Back at the tree fort, the Navi decide they're gonna go to war with their sticks and arrows, and they're all pissed that letting Jake in backfired. Well, Quaritch is also pissed, so he just disconnects Grace and Jake and takes them back to base, where Grace explains that everything on Pandora has a neurological connection to each other. But they don't care, and they're gonna blow up the tree fort now. But first, Jake talks evil corporate man into letting him and Grace try to talk the Navi out of the tree. So they go there, and Jake confesses that he was working with the humans the whole time. So the Navi get upset about something they should have known already and take them captive. They know about humans using synthetic bodies to look like them, and that Jake was one of those things, and they let him in anyway. Seriously, what did they think was gonna happen? Whatever, Quaritch sees what's happening and decides to start shooting at the tree fort. So everyone starts running from the burning building, tree, and Shaman Lady lets Jake and Grace free. Up in her plane, Trudy decides not to shoot at the tree.
I didn't sign up for this
She kind of did, but okay. Then the pillars break and the tree falls. Wow, that seems symbolic of a real-life event. Way to be subtle, movie. Then there's a shot of all the corporate people looking sad about what happened, as if they're not the ones who did this. Oh no, the chief died and Jake got banished. Back at the base, Parker has Grace and Jake disconnected again, and throws them in jail. Why the hell are the Navi taking Grace's avatar body? Anyway, Trudy and Max rescue the Avatar gang, and she gets into a helicopter and for some reason starts it. Why didn't she wait until everyone was in so it wouldn't alert Quaritch like it just did until it was too late? So then this asshole kicks open the door, which lets the poisonous air in, and starts shooting at them. Why are there people just walking around behind him like nothing's going on? Isn't the air supposed to be poisonous or something? Except they get away, and oh no, Grace got shot. Then they move the Avatar base to the Tree of Souls. Once they land, Jake goes back to his avatar body and gets a ride from his dragon thing, and uses it to get a bigger, scarier dragon. Remember what I said about these things being loyal to one person their entire life? What happens to his original one now? But I guess it gets the Navi to listen to him. So now they're gonna use the Tree of Souls to transfer Grace's soul into her avatar body. Wait, what the how? When was this established they could do this? Have they done this before? I don't know why they would. Do they do this with their own people? Apparently not, because they showed one die earlier. Are they just hoping this somehow works? But yet they seem to know how to do it with a chant and everything. This comes out of nowhere and doesn't make any sense. What the actual is going on with this movie? This scene is bullshit. But it doesn't work and she dies. I guess now they're gonna go get all the clans together to fight the Sky People. Meanwhile, Quaritch's security team is planning to attack the Tree of Souls like a bunch of dicks. And Max tells Jake what's going on.
We're going up against gunships with bows and arrows.
Holy crap, did someone finally understand this? Then they start the battle with these giant robots from earlier and a bunch of helicopters. Trudy's there to distract Quaritch, and she just broke their window, but they don't seem to care even though the air is poisonous, and they blow her up. Okay, there's this one point where Neytiri gets shot out of the air, and there's this slow-mo watch everyone die scene from every war movie ever made. Then Sute dies, and I guess it's supposed to be sad, but I just don't care. Then Norm's avatar gets killed, but he's fine, so I guess it wasn't a big deal then. See, now they're just being assholes. Then a bunch of these rhino things and more dragons come out of nowhere just so the Na'vi can start winning. Well, Quaritch has had enough, so oh no, they're gonna drop the bomb, but of course Jake stops it and they crash. Then he blows a hole in Quaritch's plane, but Quaritch just so happens to get in this giant robot thing so he can survive, and have this fight with Jake because I guess this is Alien now. During the fight, Quaritch goes after Jake's real body in the remote pod. Wow, good thing he crash landed right next to the Avatar base. So Jake's real body gets exposed to the poisonous air, so now Jake is struggling to stay in his Avatar body, and Quaritch is about to kill Jake, but Neytiri shoots him with an arrow. Then she figures out where real Jake is and gives him a respirator. After the battle, they banish all the humans back to Earth, which is dying. But at least some of them get to stay, including Jake, Norm, and Max. But how does that work? Jake has his avatar body that he can use, but Norm's got shot so he can't use his, and Max never had one. And it's not like they can live on the base since Parker's getting sent back, and he's obviously not going to send funds to keep it running. Anyway, Jake goes through the bullshit soul transfer ceremony, and it works this time. When this movie first came out, people were calling it the best movie ever made, and there were reports of people seeing it like every day in the theater. Some people were even saying they felt depressed after watching it because Pandora was so beautiful. I mean, people went absolutely nuts over this movie, and what I could never understand was why. To me, it was just a bad movie, filled with plot points stolen from other movies and plot conveniences, and the best thing it had going for it was that it looked pretty. The only reason I felt depressed after was because I wasted 2.5 hours of my life watching it. I don't understand why most of the stuff in it happens. Like, why does Neytiri fall in love with Jake? Is she trying to make her father mad? Does she think he's hot? It's clearly not because of his personality, because he doesn't have one. Seriously, he's such a brick wall, there is nothing interesting about his character. They could have photoshopped a Smurf in there and used archive audio as dialogue, and I wouldn't have known the difference. And speaking of uninteresting characters, what was Quaritch's problem? He's a terrible villain because he's just a dick for no reason. It would have been better if they gave him a reason for hating the Na'vi so much. Like, if his son or brother had been killed there and now he hates the Na'vi because he blames them. Or maybe they were responsible for his death. Or he actually cares about Earth dying and he's willing to do anything to save his home planet, even if that means destroying someone else's. But no, he's just an asshole who likes to kill things. I have no idea where the idea that they could use the Tree of Souls to transfer someone's soul into another body came from. No one even mentions this before, but at least they bring it up before the final scene instead of just throwing it in there, so that's something, I guess. I find it weird how manipulative the Na'vi's character designs are. They look close enough to humans that we can relate to them even if they are a completely different species. They're also aesthetically pleasing to look at, with the patterns on their skin and how they almost shine and sparkle in the light and dark. Like, hey, look at these nice looking people, aren't they nice? They even have these big puppy dog eyes and almost cat-like qualities to get all kinds of people to like them, because everyone likes puppies and kittens. The whole thing is almost creepy when you think about it, but I guess they had to make them this way for this movie to work. Because if Alien tried to have this kind of story, I don't think it would work, because those things are scary as hell. Also, how do the Na'vi age? Is it similar to the way the Avatars do? Because those things age into adults in about 6 years, and then don't seem to age at all for 18 years. Oh well, I'm sure they won't make it more confusing in the sequel. And how does half the stuff that Jake does with his avatar body work if it's a synthetic body? The acting doesn't get much better in the second half. Giovanni Ribisi is okay as Peter Selfridge. He plays the typical CEO who only cares about money and nothing else, but there are glimpses that he does care about the Na'vi. But I'm not sure if that was intentional or if he just couldn't find the facial expression he wanted to do in certain scenes. Stephen Lang is good as Miles Quaritch. He does play a good bad guy and knows how to act manipulative to other characters. I feel like he really is trying to do his best for what little he was given. Laz Alonso is one of the best actors as Sute. He does well acting in an all CGI environment, and he does a good job of using the motion capture to show great facial expressions. I can at least tell what his character is feeling. The CGI of the battle scenes are great for the most part. The animation of the tree burning and falling looks real, and they do a good job with the dust and aftermath. The animation of the animals fighting, the helicopters and the giant robots look cool and are really well done. This was the first movie to be filmed entirely in 3D, and good god did it almost ruin movies. It seemed like every movie that came out for the next 5 years had to be in 3D whether it was filmed that way or not. From the Avengers to Toy Story to goddamn Saw. Hell, they were even releasing old movies back in theaters with the 3D added. And it was all just so movie studios could justify charging twice as much per ticket. Admittedly, I never saw this movie in 3D, but I did see several in the theater I used to work at, and all it did was give me a headache. I think the best thing that has happened to movies in the past 5 years is that people realized how stupid 3D was. And if the sequel rejuvenates that trend, I'm going to be pissed. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, and thanks for watching.